I'm pissed.
Is there anything that I can do tangibly or in this moment?
You broke my trust.
I'm sorry.
Do I think it's a big deal that Ben spoke to Justin? No. It seems to the conversation took place off camera, so no, I'm not upset about that, and I will explain why. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, season 15, episode 6. It's your girl Valerie again. I'll review the couples as we normally do. I know there were a couple of group meetings, and I will sort of bring that information in between sort of the couples, and we'll see how we go. I'll start off with Morgan and Ben. Morgan and Ben, obviously, they're on the honeymoon with everybody else. Uh, Ben has been advocating that we need to, get down to the nitty gritty and stop concentrating on superficial sort of conversations. So during their conversations, I think off camera, Morgan confided in him that she hasn't actually finished her BSc and she still has one more sort of a program or coursework to submit before she can get that. And I think this was too much for Ben, so he must have needed to discuss with somebody else. So that's why he went to speak to Justin, which I commend him for talking about it behind the cameras, away from the cameras, and also away from the producers. The only problem is in telling Justin then ran and told Alexis. And so Ben had to come back and confide to let Morgan know that this is what had happened. And I understand how hurt she feels that he betrayed her trust. But also at the same time, I think he tried to protect her by not going to the producers. I think he tried to protect her by not asking to speak to the experts and making more of a big deal than it is. And I think the fact that she doesn't have a BSc is not a big deal. I don't know why she felt the need to withhold that information because Married at First Sight has married people that, for example, Beth, I don't know what qualifications Beth held. I think she's a stay-at-home wife. I don't think she works, but that didn't stop her. I seem to think she used to work for her dad at the time she got married or something like that. And still they got her married to Jamie. So I don't know why she felt the need to hide that information. I think you should have spoken to the experts and just, let the cards fall where they may. And if they were going to match it, they would match it. If they were not, they were not. And I think I think the reason why Ben panicked is because Ben is in a totally different profession to Morgan. And to him, hearing that she doesn't have a BSc must have triggered, oh, so she's not a nurse. She's lying that she's a nurse. She's not a nurse. Because he, I think, is a software engineer or something like that. And to be an engineer, you need to have your BSc in engineering. So I think to him, the reason he doesn't understand that there's different pathways to becoming a nurse and that not every nurse holds a BSc. And it's only in some countries that they've started recently advocating that all nurses need a BSc. And so I think it was just a conversation whereby there was a breakdown in communication and they could have resolved that without it getting blown out of proportion. And I wish Justin had just listened to his friend, given him advice and stopped at that and not taken the information to his wife because then it now created chaos because now there's issues with trust between Ben and his wife. And I think Morgan needs to appreciate the fact that at least he didn't run to the experts to complain and didn't make a big deal and he didn't run to production and he didn't run to and say and ask to have a sit down with Justin in front of the cameras. It's only after everything was revealed that they had to do it on camera, I think, because the producers must have found out about it. So outside of that, I think they seem solid. Yeah, there's going to be the issue with trust because of that conversation, but um, I think the other issue they're going to have maybe later on is the fact that Morgan says she's not sure whether she wants to have kids, and Ben has already discussed it with Guy, so I don't know how she'll feel about that when she finds out. But she has to understand that they're strangers. This person, if in the real world, would be going to speak to his friends are not there, and he's speaking to the nearest person who he considers to be a friend, just as she would go and confide in the girls. Morgan seems attracted to her husband. They say they haven't yet consummated their marriage, but they seem happy. outside of that. And at least by the end of the episode, Morgan had forgiven Ben and said she was willing to put in the work. She wasn't going to run away. Um, they had an issue at the couple's meal where she said that, because of how stressful her work is, she has to, when she comes home, she needs time to decompress. And I can relate because I can relate. And I think it's a matter of her speaking with Ben and sort of explaining what she needs when she gets home, and him explaining what he needs when he gets home, and then them sort of coming to a sort of a middle ground where they are both willing to compromise. I hate the fact that Justin and Alexis were chipping in and discussing amongst themselves and sort of whispering, "Oh, she wants a roommate. She doesn't want a husband." It's none of their business. It's none of their business whether those two stay married or not. That's not their business. They should focus on their own marriage, and that's just my opinion. I'm sorry. And then with Justin and Alexis, I think Justin and Alexis are focused. Justin is focused on playing a role of being the super husband, and I think Alexis is just content because she's got this guy who she feels is not a problem child, and so she's happy in that marriage. And they haven't had any problems, so she's excited that people say marriage is hard, but they are not having any issues, so she doesn't see the big deal, and she was excited with that. And then obviously they had a conversation with the girls, and she told the girls that he said I love you, and then she later told Justin she loved him. I think it's too early. I think it's too early. I think they're excited. They're still in the honeymoon phase. They're still in the honeymoon phase of the honeymoon. And when they get back, and it's going to be, to San Diego, it's going to be wow, amazing. Um, we'll see how it goes. Um, they did have this sort of conversation where Justin was crying about Ben, that he was worried that his friend really wanted to get married and the wife he's matched with doesn't seem to have the same sort of um, priorities as he does, and what she wants from marriage is totally different. And it's like, I understand empathizing with someone, but that's a bit extreme. That's a bit extreme. He's empathizing way too much. There's no need for him to cry. And when Alexis was consoling him, it was like she was holding a child and she was trying to explain to a little kid, don't take everybody's problems and make them yours. I don't know. I don't know. Um, I think Justin as well is playing it for the cameras as well, because when they went on the boat and they came back and they were sitting down and having a conversation, the sailboat sort of flipped over and he sort of caught it, and then he looked at the cameras and said, "I hope you caught it because I showed my wife my reflexes and I was able to save her." And it's like, sir, that should not be your priority. Your priority, yeah, should be making sure your wife is safe, and you really don't need to be speaking to the cameras and everybody else around you. We don't need to know. We know they're there, but you don't need to let us know that they're there. I don't know. That marriage, I would have wanted it to work, but we'll see. And then from there, we go to Stasia and Nate. Stasia and Nate. Stasia and Nate are a bit of the couples this season are just, I know they went for older people. I think thinking that at least if they went for older people, these are people that would want to get married. But these people are coming with so many red flags, it's unbelievable. So Stasia and Nate, Stasia arranged a little picnic for Nate. They had a conversation. Obviously, she wanted to talk to him about going to counseling, which I strongly advocate, especially seeing that they're strangers that have just got married. They need to learn to communicate with each other and they need to learn to sort of come up with a plan for their family. So I have to commend that. And I have to commend Nate for saying yes. But my concern is I think Nate is just saying yes to everything and things are going to explode. I know on the after party, Stasia was saying that when the cameras are gone, she does have sort of more in-depth conversations with Nick. But the fact that he's saying yes to everything makes me question when is he going to say no, and why is he not saying no? Because Stasia asked him about the post nap, he said yes. Stasia asked him to move into a house that she's building, he said yes. Stasia's asked him to go to counseling, yes. Yes, there are things that he should be saying yes to, but at least have some sort of back and forth. Don't just say, "Oh, you don't trust your boy. Okay, fine, we'll do it." Oh, you don't, unless it's the editing that's being edited that way to make it seem like they're getting along on everything. I don't know. I'm really on edge with the two of them, and I don't know whether this is going to work. We'll have to wait and see. They seem to like one another, and Nate sort of told the guys when the guys met up that we haven't consummated our marriage, and all the guys were just looking at each other and like, "Nah, we don't believe you," and that's because of the incident at the bachelorette party. bachelor party, which I said before that people need to be cautious when they go on Married at First Sight because Married at First Sight will keep replaying it. And he was, commanding a stripper on what to do during the bachelor party. And this is the third, if not the fourth time they've played that scene, and they're going to play it till eternity. Till eternity. Even if he gets divorced, they'll still continue to play it until every time they bring up incidents from Married at First Sight. People need to be cautious. So the other guys were questioning that and they were concerned. Although Lindsay did say that she told Stacey that her and Miguel were worried that Nate is an Instagram husband. And because he's constantly on his phone taking pictures and blah 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 blah. And part of me, I don't think it's more because of social media. I think he's someone who 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 likes who's very concerned about his appearance. Do you understand what I mean? As in how he dress, how he portrays himself, how people receive him and stuff like that. And I think also the excitement of being on a honeymoon in a foreign country. I think this is why he keeps taking pictures and stuff. I don't know. I haven't looked him up on social media, and I know most of them will have locked their accounts up until after the at least the reunion. So I don't know. I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say no. Miguel and Lindy. The girls did, have a conversation, and Lindy owned up that, she and Miguel had consummated their marriage. And Stasia was, everybody was taken aback, but Stasia, it seemed, personalized it more because she then started crying and saying, I had a guy that I dated and he forced me into become, intimate when I didn't want to. Are you sure you wanted to? Are you sure Miguel didn't force you? And Lindy insisted that no, Miguel didn't force her. She wanted to do it, and that's why they did it. And I think she doesn't have the willpower to say no to Miguel. And I think she's because she appears to really, really like him. So she's always going to say yes. And sadly, because Lindy told Stasia what their thoughts were on Nate. When they had the couple sit down, Stasia then brought up a conversation started as to how they became intimate, whether it was a mutual agreement, because Nate was saying, I believe we shouldn't focus on the sexual aspect of marriage. We need to, put in the work first before we do that. Because once we do that, then I've noticed that most people don't end up staying married, which, given by marriage at first sight track record, is the truth. But still, I don't think it was. I think if they've done it, then and they decide to abstain until after decision day, that makes more sense. But then if that becomes their focus, I remember the couple from season one. I've forgotten their names. That was their go-to. Every time they had an issue, they'd just go to bed and have sex. Every time they had an issue, and that's why their marriage failed because they were not putting in the work that the experts were telling them to put in. So I hope Lindsay, if there's any concern in that regard, when they sit down with Pastor Carl next week, she will bring it up. However, out of nowhere, started, asking questions. I don't even know, Miguel, how long you've been single for, who you were dating, blah blah. And I could tell that this was as a result of the comments that Lindy had made about Nate. I don't think it had anything to do with Miguel. And the producers immediately sent in the band, so the band was able to drown out the comments. And so Stasia couldn't get a response to her question. And Lindy on her part, why I say she likes Miguel way too much is because she then started to pacify him and sort of say, oh, don't worry about everybody else, just focus on you and me. We're discussing everything. We're sort of going deep in our conversations and stuff. And it's like, if you don't want people to discuss your marriage, don't bring up your business to people. That's just my opinion. Anyway, and last but not least, Mitch and Kristen. I feel sorry for her. I don't know why they didn't offer her an annulment as soon as Mitch picked up the phone to phone his brother because that man does not want to be married to her. He used her for sex and that was it. And I think he's been refusing to film because the only time they showed him was outside of the couple's dinner and the final sit down in their room. They showed him in the middle of the ocean with Kristen, sorry, taking pictures from the beach and sort of using her phone to sort of show where he was. And it's like, you're on a honeymoon with your wife. You're going into the middle of the ocean. Why not do things that sort of incorporate your wife as well? That way she feels a part of whatever you're doing. He seems so self centered because he even sat down with her and said, I know for things to work for us, we have to take into consideration what I want. We have to do the things that I want, but also you don't give me too much rope. You need to call me out from time to time. And it's like, this is a marriage. It's supposed to be 50-50. Why are we focusing all the attention on you and not on me? And Kristen really wanted to get married because she told the girls, "Oh, we have to be Team Mitch at the moment because." And even Alexis, I have to agree with Alexis. She said, "I can only be Team Mitch for so long. The moment she says, 'Let's go,' we're going because I can't take this. This is way too much for one person to bear." And I wish, part of me wishes Mitch had been paired with Lindsay from last season. Oh, Lindsay would have taken him to the cleaners. She would have given him a piece of her mind, and he would have calmed himself down because I don't see what his problem is. He's got an amazing wife, just like what's her name? I'm a nice person had Chris, and he's just messing about. I wish she could have been matched with Chris. Sorry, they would have made a better couple because they both wanted to be married instead of whoever she's left with. Poor Kristen is going to be a very long 8 weeks. I hope when they sit down with Pastor Carl, she does tell him everything that's going on. But anyway, I digress. Thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.